Well, good morning. How are you all today? And welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm going to probably make 3 or 4 today because I've had some people ask some questions, and I'm getting too long a list on things that I need to be doing videos on, and I've got to spend the rest of the day editing the latest book. By the way, we are sold out of book. Couple of announcements. We're sold out of books. Now, somebody asked, does that mean I can't order books from you anymore? No, it just means that I'm waiting for the next order to come in. We sent out all the books that we had in stock, ran out, still had 15, 20 orders to go from just that stack. So we've had to order a whole big load. So yeah, you can still order through the website, and that's great. And I'd love you to do that. And that website's down below, stonemont.us. We'll just get them to you as soon as we get them in. That's all I wanted people to know. If you want them right away, do it through Amazon. That link's also below. Through Amazon, you can get them in paperback and Kindle and Audible. So there you go on that. The information for the summer get-together, the Integrative Preparedness slash Stonemont get-together is on the Patreon channel. It's July 13th on the Kansas side of the greater Kansas City area, and it's going to be a great time. I've already had so many people, let me know they're coming from all over the country. It's just amazing. And you can get the information there, camping information. The links will be there to go to that. Information on where actually it's going to be. I don't put that information on YouTube. I'm not publishing this to the world. You have to be a Patreon, because, if you're serious, what's $1 a month, right? And somebody also asked, well, can I bring other people, even if they are not, stone monters or all? Yes, you definitely can, because you're a member. And it's just like you can bring guests, bring your family, bring your tribe, bring whoever you want to. Be a good time, because I know that if they're with you, they're bound to be good people, right? All that information is over there, as is the place you can register. Just register that you're coming so that we know how many. It doesn't cost anything. It's just us getting together to meet each other and have a good time, right? Okay, the first one that I want to talk about today is I had a question from, let me put on my eyes. It was from Cowgirl in Arizona. And I love cowgirls and I love Arizona, so you're bound to be a good person. What would happen if external peacekeepers, UN, came into the country, and what people can do about it? She asked if I could answer that. Okay, if that happens, now there are those who say that they are already here, okay? I'm not going to say whether they are or not. And I'm not keeping it a secret. I don't know whether they are or not. And neither does any, well, there are some people who know, but probably not, us. Okay. And anybody that says they are here, come on, stop making those statements that you can't, but if you make the statement, please give me your sources. Okay. So, because one of the things that there's far too much of in the world, and especially the prepper community, is our opinions without backing. Okay, if you have some reason, if you can give me some documentation besides I just think they know they are, or well, look at all these military-aged men coming across the border. If you have something more than that, that's good. Please share it with well, you can't share it on here on YouTube, but you can share it on Patreon. Please provide it. Let us know. Let us take a look at your evidence. But if you don't, realize you don't know. Now, let's follow some evidence. Me being an old police investigator, when I look at thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of fit, well-fed, military-aged males coming across our border, what would that indicate to me? That would indicate to me an invading force. The question is, who is bringing? Well, we know our government is bringing them in. Okay, we know our government is bringing them in purposefully. They're not just allowing them; they're bringing them in. So you reach your own conclusions on that. And I'm sure your conclusions agree with mine. They are not here to help us. They are here to be ready to be called up, in my opinion. In my opinion. Do I know that? No, it's my opinion. Based on some pretty good evidence, right? Who is behind it? Is it China? Is it Russia? Is it is it Iran? Is it, whatever? In every one of these cases, though, realize this. In every one of these cases where you can look at these people and say, okay, they are purposefully being sent here. A person could also make an argument, well, these are the ones who can get out of the country, are trying to get over here and establish themselves, and then send for or try to get their families later. That happened a lot. I mean, in the settling of America, the male came first, right? And in many cases, tough, hard scrabble males. They came first. I'm not minimizing the danger of these before anybody starts, jumping up and down about that. Not at all. But in many cases, the males come first, try to get things established, and then try to get their families over. That's historical. So you have to realize that. Now, do I think that that's everything that's happening? No, I don't. I think a lot of these people are being sent here and being allowed here to cause trouble, to be the internal enemy. The question is this, and her question was, Cowgirl's question was external peacekeepers. Now, the way that I see them now is as covert invaders. Okay, not clandestine. There's a difference between covert and clandestine. If you don't know that, I've talked about that on the Patreon channel. I'll say covert is when somebody knows what happens but doesn't know who did it. Okay, clandestine is you don't know it's happening. Okay, so we know it's happening. We just don't know exactly who's behind it all. So it's covert. I think that this is a covert operation to prepare how shall I put this? Internal eruption. Let me just use that instead of the T word, okay? I think that they are here, many of them, not all of them, to create havoc and maybe start an internal war here. Yeah, that's what I think. Now, that's a little bit different than Cowgirl's question, which was external peacekeepers. That would imply an organized force, a UN force, right? I've heard people say that, well, the UN troops are already here. And I think that a lot of people are just passing on things that they've heard with that. And that's a danger, too. That's something that the preparedness community, world, whatever you want to call it, has to get away from. Stop this continual passing on of information as fact that has simply been heard from someone else. And until it's proven, it's not, well, it could be true, but it's not established. Okay. It doesn't mean that you can't have that opinion, and your opinion might not be right. But I'm not going to discuss it as a proven fact until it is. Okay, you get my reasoning there. So this would imply an organized peacekeeping group such as the UN. Well, when you look at what's happened, we are sending, all of our military over somewhere else. We are defunding the police here. We are hamstringing the police here. And I believe this was a plan when that summer of love, when the police were told to stand down, it disgusted all the good ones. And they left. And I said it was going to happen. And they left. You don't have the cream of the crop in the police anymore. Now, I'm sure there are still good ones out there trying to fight the good fight. But you lost, just like in the military, you lost so much experience, so much dedication, so much of the level heads, so many of those who were doing it for the right reason, that law enforcement, just like our military, is only a shadow of what it was 5 years ago. Okay, excuse me. We still have plenty of mugs. You can still get your mugs. Because we don't have to wait on a printer to bring those. So we have pretty much neutered law enforcement here. We know that federal law enforcement is corrupt to the core. We know that our military, for the most part, is overseas. So when this internal conflagration erupts, who do we call on, or who do the powers call on to either guide it, block it, redirect it, I don't know, support it? I don't know. Well, some people say, well, they would invite the UN in. Maybe. Maybe they want to make all these, well, not all, maybe they want to make a lot of these illegals honorary citizens if they will serve in the military, or if they will serve. Do you remember what Obama said? We need a domestic unit equal to, in numbers, training, weapons, and abilities to our armed forces, an internal force. Is that what they're after? Okay, we can go on and on. We could discuss, I could talk about 100 different scenarios with this, and it's not going to serve any purpose because it would just be conjecture. Let me get to the root. What would that mean for us? That means game over. That's what it means. It means game over. You are now living in an occupied country, under occupation. I know somebody's going to say, we're under occupation now. Okay, whatever. Well, you're not near under the occupation you're gonna be, and if you think this is occupation, just wait. And people have asked me in the past, why, and they've kind of gotten on me. I've mentioned this before when I talk about learning from groups who have lived under occupation. I talked about the IRA. I've talked about the Irish situation. That's stirring up again too. I've talked about organized crime. This is why I talk about organized crime. I did one here on YouTube. Well, everybody on Patreon sees these too. But I did more than that on the Patreon, because these are people who have learned not just to survive, but to do well under occupation. And there are certain tricks to do it. You have to develop the ability to influence the world around you, politically and economically. Steve, what does that mean? Well, it means you need to get out there and get involved in the process and get involved in the system. But, a lot of the people in the preparedness community, they don't want to be involved in the community. They want nothing to do with it. They're running and hiding. The old run, hide, fight that we teach in active shooter training. Well, most preparedness people are running and hiding. And the thing is that only works under certain circumstances, and then you have to fight. And many times in this situation, and this is, I'm not talking about actually physically fighting. I'm talking about resisting. I'm talking about being able to work the system, being involved in the system to an extent that you have influence over it. Could be your local school board, city council, county commission, whatever it is, state politics, local politics, your ability to develop your own support group and support unit. Some people want to call it a MAG. I don't care what you call it. I call it Circle of Friends. I'm going to talk a little bit about that on a second one here too. And the importance of integration in groups. You need to strengthen that. You need to cast a wide as net as you can so that you have contacts in every possible area that you might need help from. And then you need to be able to have influence in your local politics. Because you may not be able to actually direct or steer, but you will have access to information letting you know what's headed your way. And anybody who won't do that is not going to do well. I'll just put that simply. You're not going to do well if you won't do that. you will be surprised when whatever it happens. And then you'll be surprised when the next it happens. You'll be constantly surprised until the big one, right? The big surprise, whatever that may be. So you have to be involved. You have to be involved in your community, and you strengthen your groups. Try to stay involved in what's happening in local politics. You might be able to influence some things, maybe not, but at least you will have developed an information source that could be very, very important to you. So all that leading up to Cowgirl, the question is, the answer to your question is, if foreign peacekeepers are brought into this country, it is game over. This is no longer the United States of America. This is, I don't know what it is, but it's just the next step to whatever it's going to be next. And that's where preparedness comes in, right? Okay, so you need to be prepared. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. I'm getting off of here so I can shoot the next one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.